Alright, welcome back to Tomboy Official. Back to the podcast. It's Friday the 13th. Yeah. I slept good last night, finally. Had a vegan chili. It was very spicy and my stomach is still recovering. Just finished watching The L Word, the new episode. This is the second episode past the musical. All I can say whenever I finish watching that show is, oh my gosh, man. That's all I can say. I usually prefer just like super calm, chill shows, but I've been watching this series for so long, and it's really cool to have a show where some of the main generation, the first generation characters are still in the newer generation, and the continuation of all the different relationships and things over I think we're past 10 years now at this point, but yeah, it's a cool show. It's wild. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah. Oh my goodness. Alright. I'm hydrating. For breakfast, all I had was a Soylent shake and a banana. I'm debating on any coffee. The Soylent shake I think it has cacao in it. And I just need water, so I'm just gonna drink a couple bottles of water while I'm recording podcast episodes. It's a little after 8:30 a.m. I woke up just before 7 a.m. Don't know when I slept. I think I looked back at my time at the clock on my phone, and it was around midnight, but I think I probably fell asleep a little before then. And I was actually getting really tired. I didn't really sleep very good the nights before, and technically Wednesday night I didn't sleep till 6 a.m. Thursday morning, so I didn't even record anything. I was like, I'm gonna be useless all day. All I did yesterday was work out. Not the whole day. All I did was, try to get a couple meals in and then exercise. That was the only thing I was trying to do. I ate around 11 something, and just was hydrating, had some coffee. I only slept from 6 something to 10 or so in the morning, but I was I have the luxury right now of just doing whatever, but I don't know, for trying to work on any health improvements or just general lifestyle improvements. For me, it's hard to not have a routine, at least a sleep schedule and a schedule where I eat at certain times a day. If those are way out of whack, I feel I just can't really function that good. I need my sleep to be quality sleep. And when I'm up in the morning, I need to get hydrated and get going, and make sure there's some form of meditation and just stress, just kind of planning out the day a little bit, and stress, if I wake up with some stress going on, just kind of coming down from that and stuff. I don't think so. There's no real reason to wake up stressed. if that makes sense, in my opinion. And in my own personal opinion, I think, I could be wrong, but I think, I heard this somewhere else too, it could be related to blood sugar, because, like, if you eat dinner, that's kind of the last meal you have, and then you have kind of like a fasting period between dinner and breakfast. It's multiple hours. Like, unless you're eating, dinner at like 2 in the morning, that's like a really long period. Like, even if you go to sleep at midnight and eat dinner at midnight, and say you wake up at 8 in the morning, like, I know a lot of people wake up earlier, but say if you work at 9 and wake up at 8, if you're in like a city where you live close by work and you don't have to like deal with like LA or anything like that, like, and you wake up a little later, I think most people probably wake up around 7:30 a.m. I think that's kind of more normal. And then usually when people wake up before 7, it's considered kind of early. I'd say if you're waking up after 9, in my opinion, it seems just like, if you think of most people's schedules, it's kind of late. Now, I know that is relative to what type of work you do or school or whatever. Like, not everybody has a 9 to 5. Not everybody goes to school where you're starting at 8, ending at 3. All that kind of stuff can vary. Like, some people work nights, so it's like, of course, you're not going to be waking up at like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning if you just got home at like, if you just got off work at like 9 p.m. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, there's no, like, I don't think of any other time periods in the day where it's that normal to go that many hours without eating. Like, say if you eat dinner latest 8 p.m., then that's almost 12 hours you haven't eaten. Like, usually once you're awake, most people tend to do, I would say, breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's kind of normal. A lot of people skip breakfast, so maybe lunch and dinner, and then maybe some other food or snacks other times of the day. I don't know, but I don't think you usually go 12 or more hours during the day with no food. Like, I know some people skip meals. Like, I've come across plenty of people who, I'll meet them for dinner and they'll be like, oh, like, I haven't eaten like since breakfast. And I'm just like, dang, like, how'd you work all day and you haven't eaten like lunch or snacks or anything? Like, I've known a lot of people who do that, and I'm not one of them. Yesterday, like I mentioned, I ate 2 meals yesterday because I woke up so late. Because I slept so late. I barely slept. I basically napped yesterday, but it was kind of caffeine pre-workout induced. I had a pre-workout at like 1 p.m., which I already knew was a bad idea. And it wasn't the whole 200 milligrams caffeine worth. It was like 100 milligrams worth. But I did a pretty light workout. That was one of my first days back working out after a couple days. And I've been doing this flexibility challenge that's about to end. I don't know what day it's going to end, but I think the 16th. And so, yeah. So, all right, I'm actually just going to take a swig of coffee. Okay, that was more like a gulp than a swig, but I don't know if I want to commit to the coffee right now. I haven't decided yet if I want to be that productive. But let's do that. I mean, because that's kind of, I didn't record yesterday. And before bed, I kind of did. I kind of did the chapter for that next day. So so the last recording I did was about it wasn't really about, but it was during reviewing the Power of Gratitude chapter for day 3, I think. Yeah, so that day was for the Power of Gratitude chapter. So yesterday was The Past Has No Power, but I didn't really look at the chapter. I just did the reflection part. Like, I didn't really do it full force. I didn't really open the book. I told myself lights out before 10 p.m., which I did do. And then so I did the lights out before 10 p.m. and then I was like, oh shoot, I didn't do the reflection. And I was like, I don't want to open the book and turn the lights back on and and I'm studying some other thing for about the sabbatical year and the year of Jubilee and Jewish culture of the Old Testament and Leviticus, just for my own fun, because to me it feels a little relevant, just with this being the 7th year that I had worked at the work site, and as an employee. Like I mentioned, I'd been there longer, but basically, day 4's reflection quote from Eckhart Tolle would have been, "The past has no power over the present moment." And I basically reflected on just maybe 30. I took 30 minutes or so to reflect on some things that kind of were coming up. I guess it was kind of trust issues, maybe. Kind of related to, my new living in environment and still kind of adjusting, but now adjusting to this post-work period. I'm not gonna never work a 9 to 5 or whatever, but right now I'm doing what I can to not work a 9 to 5, basically, or not have to do it at the moment. And so I think I mentioned I have at max a year. I'm noticing that sometimes say for example, when I moved back to LA, I was like, yeah, I'll be back in San Diego in 3 months, because I was like, I just want to stay for the summer, get a little rest, and then go back. And that little bit of rest, I don't think I really started feeling rested until September. And then, because that was after I even got the Rona and then had to recover from that. So I started feeling more recovered in September or so. And, that's only a couple months ago, in all honesty. And then in September is when I started planning more about my financial, career goals and financially what I need. And I've been doing a lot of financial planning and stuff anyways, and working on my finances and my credit score for since most of the Rona. And so, right now it's kind of career, house, that kind of thing. When you're in LA, when you're in Southern California and San Diego, places like that, I know people who might not understand this environment, this area, this region, housing is expensive. The cost of living out here is expensive. I don't know that many people on individual incomes that don't have either parent support or living with parents or living with family or living with partners or roommates. I can name maybe two friends, now more. Since like a lot of my friends got licensed, I now have more friends who are working. Who are working and independently living in their own apartments. So I'd say I have 1, 2, 3 friends, 3 single friends without roommates. And they're all licensed, are they? They all got licensed, I think, in 2022 sometime. Like, where they were in a place where they could, like, look to move. So they all moved during the year of 2022 to their own places. I think one has a studio and 2 of them have 1-bedroom apartments. Everybody's got a master's degree. And has been working in the field for at least 3, maybe 4 or 5 years. I have some friends with doctoral degrees. Some are doing like postdoc work. I really don't know that many people who have a single income. That, like, really, I can name 3 of them off the top of my head. Everyone else I know lives with family, and like almost everybody I know has a higher education level degree, past a bachelor's degree. Most of the people I know are in psychology. Some are in the military. Some don't have bachelor's or master's degrees, but have been working in the same field or jobs for like a very long time, and have roommates. That's kind of the norm out here. Now, I know a lot of people in engineering. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I know a lot of people. I don't talk to every single person I know about their housing situations, but most people I know aren't just like single individual people that have their own independent house. The 3 that I know all have apartments of some sort. And I was even doing the math. I'm like, before taxes, if you're making $80K a year as an individual person, it's still going to be kind of like maybe not super comfortable. You need to really be making close to 6 figures out here. Like, that's the reality of it at this moment. And so that's the financial reality. And, you know, it's just how it is, you know? But with that comes other things, you know, certain choices regarding housing and stress about certain types of jobs that, you know, maybe you're not getting the pay rate you want or living in the place that you want and all that kind of stuff. Like, it can be a little complex. And if you don't want to do the roommates and you aren't like really financially super stable, it's going to be really hard to get a spot. And even me, like, I, you know, don't have a lot of extreme expenses. Like, I did have debt, which I took care of the majority of that, but I still have student loans, of course. Who doesn't at this point? I don't have credit card debt. Like, I never got into credit cards too much, to be honest. It was more loans, like those personal loans, which in a way, I don't know if they're maybe worse. I don't know. They're still, I don't know. I feel like they're just, like, they just suck your money, you know? The interest rates are insane, and then you're paying, like, you pay back almost like double, triple whatever you borrowed. It's like if you borrow $1,000 and then they're taking like $200 to $300 out every month or twice a month, for like, I mean, you've already surpassed what you borrowed within like 3 months. You've already surpassed what you borrowed. In about 2 to 3 months, you've already surpassed what you borrowed, but you're not fully paid off if you just go by what they take out. And so that, usually those loans are like 6 month, 12 month, 24 month, or whatever. If you look at how much you pay back, it's like you can borrow $1,000 and pay back $6,000, $8,000. It's like, that's insane to me. But it's like, that's kind of what it looks like, and then credit cards, if you're making minimal payments, I mean, we all know the story, right? Like, it's not something that's like completely, something that nobody has knowledge about. But also, I feel like people who were trained and educated about these types of borrowing, or we're lucky to not have firsthand experiences with debt in that way, is like, at least you get your whole paycheck. And so one of my initial goals was, I want my whole paycheck. Like, I worked my ass off, I want my whole paycheck. I don't want half of it, so that was kind of where my head went first. I was like, I'm working my ass off and I don't even get my whole paycheck because I have these debts. So I was like, how do I get to a place where I'm going to get my whole paycheck? And during the Rona is probably the first time in my life where I actively sat down and started studying finance, like, in detail. Some Dave Ramsey stuff, just like some of the popular stuff. The old stuff with like long histories behind it. I just started looking into some people like that and listening to like a lot of podcasts, and it was just like finance, like boring stuff, like it seemed boring, I started listening to Graham Stephan content and Dave Ramsey content. That's where I began. And the reason why I started with them is because they're both very frugal. And that was something I was not. And I was like, let me see what this is like, what this feels like, because I kind of looked at my lifestyle outside of certain things, like the partying, because during the Rona, there wasn't all the partying and the going out and all these kind of things. Like, there was a lot of stuff I was not able to do. And so I was like, well, now I can live a pretty frugal lifestyle because there's like no pressure to go out. There's no, the only thing I could really spend on was like Instacart, Uber Eats, like that type of like deliveries. Like, not the whole few years of things, but for a lot of it, I wasn't having expenses. I was working remotely. My gas, I wasn't leaving town to go from San Diego to LA on a regular basis, making plans in LA, driving around LA. I wasn't doing any of that. So, that's kind of, I'd say, what I would have to say about the past has no power over the present moment. I know that that's not what that phrasing means about, I know it's, the phrasing is kind of talking about, either lifestyle choices or mistakes or pain or trauma or just situations that didn't work out ideally, doesn't really dictate your choices every day. I mean, it can. I mean, a lot of times we carry that stuff in. That's not uncommon, For, I feel like if humans completely forgot everything that happened in their past, there would be some negative, maybe repercussions of that too, because, there wouldn't be learning, there wouldn't be like learning from mistakes or like improvement. Like, it's hard to improve if we don't remember. But also I feel like sometimes memory can get in the way too. It's like you have memory and it, sometimes it's like, I think it's part of ourselves trying to be protective, but then it kind of backfires, and it's like part of it can be protecting myself to keep reminding myself of all these things. My ego is like, remind you of all this stuff that happened in the past. But then like it can also drag a person down if it's like, like say for example, if it's like, just a few days ago I had some random like inner thigh muscle pull. So I skipped a workout. I think I skipped 2 workouts or something. I think. I'm not looking at the place where I wrote it down at the moment, but I think I skipped 2 workouts. And I was kind of disappointed that I skipped that second one, because I was like, I actually felt good that day. But I just was like skipping it, just because, I just didn't prioritize it as part of my routine that day. And, I was kind of like, dang, and so then, like I said, like a couple days ago, not yesterday, but the day before that, that was my first kind of light workout after maybe 3 days of not really having like a decent workout. And I think the day that I had the muscle pull, that I noticed the muscle pull, was probably from the night before. So I did 2 yoga routines before those 2 nights before. And I think that second night I pulled a muscle, and it didn't really hurt until that next day. So, but it just went away. I woke up and it was gone, and I was like, okay. And that's kind of normal for me now. I just like get weird injuries because I'm not injuries, but like I'm exercising, and then I'm like, like there's pain, and then like I sleep and it's like better the next day or whatever. But, or like, yeah, like the pain starts kicking in like on a later day. Like my shoulders last night were kind of killing me, and they still kind of are now, because I used the pull-up bar not last night but the night before. So it's like stuff like that. Like it doesn't hurt the day of, but the next day it's like, geez, like why am I sore? So, but taking things like that, like I even noticed, for example, that when I skipped like those 3 days, it was really hard for me to get into the groove of the workout. Not yesterday, but the day before. I was having a struggle with it because I was kind of down on myself. Because it's like I'm not even really like that packed in my schedule. So it's like I have plenty of time to work out now. I can work out like any freaking time. But I don't do it like every minute of every day, but I'm still keeping it light. I'm thinking, I mean, okay, so when I get a little caffeine in my system, the reason why I kind of was first like, I don't want caffeine, is because, I noticed when I was working, I was getting super stressed because of the caffeine. It was just like ramping me up too much with the stress levels and that amount of energy. Like the combination was just like intense, and it was affecting me negatively. But I'm noticing now when I already have so much more energy just from not having the drain of that job. And it's just been a few days. I mean, we're not even fully 2 full weeks in, or today was technically 2 weeks. Today's the 2-week mark since December 30th. So Friday the 13th is the 2-week mark. And I already feel like so much better. I was already feeling better even before today. But then I had those few days where I was just like off, just because I wasn't sleeping like on time. But I have the luxury of staying up late because I can wake up when I feel like it and like whatever, like I'm giving myself January to see how I feel, reevaluate in February. But I'm giving myself January to kind of do what I want. I'm still taking things seriously, but I'm kind of taking a little vacation, and it feels weird. I'm not gonna lie, it feels weird to not be productive. I had some days where I was like ultra productive and trying to do like an 8-hour shift almost. And then I was like, dude, just like slow down. So right now I have an online project that I explained it before basically, but we're close to, we have like 2 more days until that is going to be launched. And so, I'm kind of just sitting back, recording, just trying to work on like my choices of what I eat, the exercise routines, like how I'm fueling my body. And I've had some McDonald's, but I did make choices regarding the calories, and I was like, okay, like these calories are like over 900 something calories, so that means this is most of my food for today. It's almost like just about like half of my meals for the day. And also noticing how hunger is impacted by stress levels. I'm just trying to like be aware of things and notice things. And so coming into this day 5 reflections for day 5, I'm trying to turn the page and it's already there. So there's a quote by Wayne Dyer: "You cannot be lonely if you like the person you're alone with." That's a good quote. So yeah. So for my intentions for today, it's basically like, just trying to observe, be more aware of what's going on now compared to what was going on before. So what I was starting to say is my eating patterns are definitely reflective of stress levels. So are my sleep patterns. So is my emotional stress levels. Like, I notice, at least so far today, and this is going to be also part of the morning brain dump, how I'm feeling this morning. So far today, I woke up feeling a little bit lazy, just a tad. I wanted to sleep in, but I'm like, I'm probably not going to. I wanted to go get, we're out of eggs almost. We have 1 egg left, which, I think, I was told yesterday that we have like soy rizo, like the soy-based chorizo. And I was like, yeah, but there's 1 egg. And I was like, I was going to order more, but I didn't because, I slept weird and I didn't even make it for breakfast yesterday. So I was like, well, I'm not going to order eggs or even go buy them. So if I do get out of the house today, maybe I'll just go buy eggs then. But I don't want to like pack my free time full of errands. But I also don't want to like spend a bunch of money on like food delivery because it costs way more. And if I'm already out, like all these stores are along my route, it would really probably take 30 minutes out of my day. And I have the time, but it's Friday and it's LA and I hate Fridays. with the traffic and stuff. So we'll see. But if I do shop, it should be like outside of peak hours. If it's, Friday, basically I power down by sundown. Like, I just kind of stop all the rat race for a 24-hour period. And so I'll be contributing to that part of my routine for the week. But just, overall, I want to just observe, some of the patterns I've had with, spending. Just the, I've really been very, not even, like, not, leaving the house too often. But also, I guess my motivation today can be that today's going to be the last day of sun. I mean, tomorrow we're going to have sun. It looks like at least till 7 a.m. I'm trying to check the weather to see when the storm is coming, but we have sun this morning already, so I'm not really too concerned. But I don't really know. Like, I think I was doing laundry this morning, and just stuff like that, where I'm just like, I can feel myself being a little lazy. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to, finish the laundry. I don't want to fold these towels. I don't want to clean. There's a bunch of stuff I don't want to do. And I'm kind of wondering why. And that's kind of something that I kind of want to look at more, is like, why do I get into those mindsets where I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to like sit and veg out and be entertained when I haven't done anything yet. Like, I woke up this morning, my energy's good enough. Like, I'm a little groggy, but it's like, my energy's good enough. And then, I feel almost like I want to take a nap. I do feel, I still have this like fatigue. There's like underlying fatigue. But it's not as intense. I just think I can focus on it more. Like, it's maybe amplified to my attention because I don't have work distracting me from it. Like, usually at work, the way it would come out is I would just have severe brain fog. And, I just wasn't able to fully focus on what I was doing. And at the moment, I'm like, well, that's not really what's happening right now, but I mean, you guys who have been tuned into this podcast, you've heard the way that I would talk in the mornings and stuff. Like, sometimes I was just all over the place. Like, I couldn't like form my thoughts, and I was just like, what am I even saying? Like, I can't remember what I'm saying or anything. And I would go into work like that, just all over the place. Or even when I would record after work, and I would be like, just not fully there, just forgetful, super forgetful, getting stoned quite often, just because, for me, it kind of balanced out the caffeine intake and the stress from that. Like, I just needed to balance it out sometimes. So, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I'm considering, I'm kind of considering when I think about, my relationship towards like cannabis and caffeine and like all these different things. It's like, I think it just swings things a little bit too far one direction or the other. Even if it's just a small amount, it's kind of just a lot to take in. But yeah, today's kind of, at least tonight, once I get in my power down mode, I'm going to be doing more kind of a reflective style of things. But I don't know if I'm going to do that during the day today. I feel like this is kind of enough for the morning, and then wait till tonight. I'm not going out tonight. I'm going out tomorrow night. I'm staying in tonight. But I might go. I don't know if I'm going to go to the gym. I might go to the gym or the beach or both, just because it gets me out of the house. I get to go, I get to leave the house. I get to take advantage of the sun. I mean, anything that motivates me to go to the beach, that's always a good idea, especially because we're going to have 3 days of storming. Today's sunny, so I might as well go to the beach today. Like, to me, that just makes logical sense. And, I could get in a good workout at the gym, too. I don't know what my timeline is for any of these things, but usually before 3 p.m. is ideal. But I might do some meditating. I'm studying on that topic that I mentioned, and then do some meditating because I have the time to do it. I don't know. And then part of my mind is still like, oh, I want to study. I'm trying to force myself not to study for this exam yet. It's hard. I'm having a hard time with it. In all honesty, I'm having a hard time not being super busy. That's my lifestyle. Like, I try not to be too busy to the point where I'm like not reflecting on anything. But I've noticed the amount of insight I've gained with conclusions to certain stuff in my life just in the last 2 weeks is pretty eye-opening, to me, that there were some, I already know there were some emotional things going on. That's not, I think anybody who knows me knows that, I'm pretty open about it, like, but the amount of things that I was kind of like able to understand and resolve, and it felt like in a quick period of time. It was like in a day. It just took a day, not even a full day, but like some hours or minutes within a day to like think through something and be like, oh, like I kind of see another side to this. And it's happened in a significant way with like multiple things that either if I've been like harboring resentments or just kind of not fully, just stuff that, would come up, about the past, and I'm just finding it easier to kind of like have emotions towards it, work through those emotions, and just move on, get my thought process just kind of like, oh, like this is what it is, this is how I feel, and then thinking about it and just moving on, from certain stuff. Like, and it's weird for me to just be like moving on from certain things. And maybe it was the field that I worked in that was helping me to hold on to stuff, because I was like so involved with the patients that I was working with that I wasn't fully able to kind of have the energy for myself, I don't know what I was watching where somebody mentioned that, and I realized that was totally something I was doing too. Was, I was putting so much energy into work and into the people I was working with, and not so much of that energy into myself. It was draining the quality of energy I could spend on myself, um, to some extent. And even with the days where I hardly slept, I'm like, it's pretty shocking how much energy I have. And yeah, there's been caffeine, but to me, it's just shocking how much energy I have. Like, the reason why I was staying up late, I don't think it was only the caffeine. I think it's just because I wasn't like drained from all this other stuff. Like, I was just like, well, I can stay up another few hours. Like, just the issue is it's hard for me to really sleep in the mornings because I wake up early and, I'm an early riser type of person. So, but yeah, I'm definitely grateful for, I think I've said it before, I'm grateful for this time to spend with myself, on myself. I'm trying not to, focus on having too much, like, idle hands. Like, I'm trying not to be too, too idle. But I definitely have a lot of stuff I need to do. I don't want to be too idle, though. Yeah, and then, as far as the morning brain dump and how I'm feeling this morning and why I'm feeling this way, I kind of talked about that, the underlying fatigue. It might be due to my breathing patterns. That's one thing that's might be a practical thing. I think I'm not like fully healed from like all the, I don't want to call it damage. Wear and tear is maybe better. I'm not fully healed from all the wear and tear of just a grinding lifestyle. And service work, humanitarian work. I think it's part of my culture, part of my nature as well, possibly. It's hard to tell which one because I was kind of raised around a lot of that style of thinking of like help others. But naturally, I do have a knack for that type of work, working with people on those levels, like emotionally intense levels. But I think it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's not even that I don't disconnect myself from it. People say, you can't bring the work home and all that. Like, I don't necessarily, like, actively bring it home. But definitely, like, even when I look at, in May, how I was feeling about moving, and every time I would think about searching for housing and moving, I remember being like, man, it just seems like it would be so much work to have to, like, clean up and empty out this room. And sometime in June when I was moving, an idea hit me that I was like, just stuff your car with the stuff you actually like and want, and just have a junk removal come and take it all. Like, yeah, in a way it's wasteful. I was getting rid of stuff that, could have been used. I could have, put some free item signs out and put like a desk and a mattress and like clothes hangers and stuff that was like useful. I could have made more effort to kind of recycle it into the community for some people to have some free stuff that was like decent quality. Like, it wasn't totally broken or whatever, but it wasn't like the desk wasn't perfectly put together, but there's a desk chair that was in good condition and stuff like that, where it's like I just tossed it all basically. I paid some people to come and take it and haul it away, and to me, that was just a burden lifted. I'll just take it, because it was just so much, like, it was going to take so much energy to have to get rid of it. I was like, just take all my stuff. I don't care. So how can I continue the feeling or shift if I don't want it? I mean, I definitely want to continue. This might sound weird, but I want to continue some of the feelings that I have for at least a short period of time. Just work through the emotions. If they are negative, let me just feel it, work through it a little bit every day. Talk myself through things. Like, that's kind of how I manage a lot of stuff, is I talk myself through it. I think about, okay, what was the situation that happened? And I just sit there with no distractions in front of me. Just sit there and like talk myself through the whole thing. Almost as if I was explaining it to another person. I just talk myself through the whole thing. And then I kind of catch certain things where I'm like, okay, like I was thinking like this, but this other person said this other thing, and I don't believe that they were telling the truth. But then also, maybe I just don't trust them. Maybe they were telling the truth. And, things like that, where I'm just like, trying to figure stuff out like that. So, and if I just look back on yesterday real quick, so on day 4, if I think back about evening reflections of yesterday, my favorite part of yesterday was probably working out. I did some dancing. It was over an hour of it. I was just rocking out. I was enjoying myself. 5 things that I accomplished yesterday. Definitely the exercising. That spicy dinner was like a cleanse in a way. Like, that's how I felt this morning. I was like, oh shoot, this stuff is just it's clearing everything out. I did a little bit of I worked through some things emotionally that contributed to me being up till 6 a.m. Wednesday night, contributed to my Wednesday night sleep being up till 6 a.m. I did one thing for the store online, and I slept on time. So that wasn't like during the day, but technically yesterday I slept on time, pretty much. And then the things I was going to try to do for today was basically this. I didn't have too much planning for today. I just needed today to be structured as far as my eating, my hydration, exercise, and just kind of meditative stuff. Other than that, everything's kind of up in the air a little bit. And I don't know if I was sending love to anybody in particular last night. But I'll see if there's some people I was thinking about. I noticed that I feel pretty loved by a couple of my friends. When I go down to San Diego, I'm going to be you know, we're having a little reunion. And, you know, some of them mentioned that they prefer, you know, a dinner instead of a brunch, even though all this time we were planning on a brunch. But because I check out of the hotel at 11, I'm like, I don't want to stay around till like 5 o'clock. You know, like, where am I going to stay, you know? And I don't want to get a hotel for a whole other night and leave the next day just because I wanted to stay to have dinner. So the friends that were accommodating to that, and it was just like a text chat, but, you know, one of them made it clear that they were like, you know, let's make sure that I can make it, that I can go. And then another friend kind of seconded that. And I was like, dude, that's cool, you know. They don't have to be that accommodating. They could have just been like, screw it, let's just all go, you know. Let's just, you know, do that, you know. So and my end of day thoughts yesterday were that I was wondering if I wanted to put on there's this affirmation thing that I have been sleeping to by Michael Seeley sometimes. It's like maybe I'll post it. Let's see if I can find it. It's getting hot in here. Got my heater on. I need to turn off this heater. I don't need it right now. It's sunny and warm. I need fresh air. I need to open the window. It's called Sleep Hypnosis, Positive Mind Affirmations. That's what it says on the thumbnail. And the actual video title is Affirmations for Health, Wellness, and Happiness, Ultimate something. I can't read it because it's on the thumbnail. And so I can't click it, or else I think it's going to disrupt me recording on here. But I'm going to post the link to that on here. That's what I've been sleeping to. Sometimes when my mind just feels like it's just a little too active for me to just sleep. And I remember before going to sleep, I was like, I was going to turn on that and do some deep breathing. And I think I just did the deep breathing alone. And then I woke up this morning and had never started the video. What's a video? But like, technically I just listened to it. I have YouTube Premium just specifically so I can keep my phone screen off and not have to have disrupting ads in the middle of my stuff, because I do actively listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of other stuff, while I'm, you know, like in the background. Like when I was working, I would just have podcasts on and stuff. And people put their own personal ads into things. They add their advertisements. But, I mean, I'm skipping all the other stuff, so, yeah. But yeah, I'm just kind of just chilling. That's kind of all I have for today on this podcast, and thanks for listening.